Welcome to my latest Spider-Man Unlimited video. This is going to be a very in-depth tutorial on how to use the genome and DNA system to rank up your cards. A lot of people have asked for this, so I want to get very in-depth with this particular topic. And most people know how to use it on some level, but I really want to get into all the nuances on how to make the most of this system in order to rank up your cards. And obviously, by rank up, I mean add 1 star of rank, which, as you probably know, is 1 star of rank at a time. So the new Infinity cards that you see there all have 9 stars, 9 potential stars to be fully ranked up. So that's a lot of ranking up you have to do. The Titans obviously have 8 stars. The Legendaries have 7 stars. The Epics have 6. The Rares have 5. The Uncommons have 4. And the Common cards have 3 stars of rank. Now notice in your collection, the bottom left of each card has an icon. Each one of those represents a specific type of genome. Okay, and that's reflected here in the crafting screen. So this is the tech genome, the one that looks like the bicep of muscle is the power genome, the one that looks like the hanging guy is the hanging Spider-Man is the skill genome, and the one that looks like a spider sense is the wit genome. So each card has its own associated genome type, and that's important for events too. All right, we're going to get back to this crafting screen in a little while, but what I want you to keep in the back of your head is that you can rank up according to genome samples. You can also look at the bottom left hand of my team screen where it shows 699,740 DNA samples. Think of those DNA samples kind of like wildcards. You can sort of convert them directly into any of the genome types you want, but we'll get to that in a minute. I want to show you the Infinity cards are incredibly expensive to rank up, which adds a layer of strategy to the game that wasn't quite utilized with ranking up Titans or Legendaries or Epics and below. In fact, I'm going to get to it in a minute, but proportionally speaking, the Infinity cards are, a lot of people would describe as exorbitant to rank up, and I think that there was a reason the developers did that, and that it was more than just adding a layer of strategy to the new rarity. I think that the new rank up system created severe problems to the in-game economy that the developers are trying to address now. But I'm not going to really cover that in this video. I've covered it plenty in the forum already. Now, notice that to rank up that Titan card, that's a tech genome, I need 250 samples. I happen to have the 250 samples, so I could just hit the rank up button and it will simply spend 250 of my 330 samples. Or if you look, I have 37 free rank up cards. I could use those as well to rank up. One rank up card would give me 1 star, and that would fully rank up that 2099. I'm not going to do that because I already have a couple of him fully maxed. But if I was short that particular tech genomes for, oh, and by the way, just so you know, the genomes are also specific to rarity. So in other words, you can't use legendary tech genomes to rank up legendary to rank up epic cards or titan cards. There I need 250 power genomes. Now this, I chose Spider Carnage for a reason. Now I'm going to press the rank up button. Now you notice I'm short, so it's telling me that I don't have enough, so I would have to convert some of my 699,000 DNA samples into the appropriate amount. Now if you look, it says here that I need 16,000 DNA samples in order to bridge the gap between the 50 power genomes that I have. Does that make sense? So in other words, I have 50, of the 250 I need, and in order to create the 200 power genome Titan power genome samples, I would need to fork up 16,000 DNA samples. So that's one way that you could rank up. You can also convert. This is called synthesizing, and I want to say something very, very quickly to you. You'll notice that there's a number in a little white band on every card on the synthesizing screen. The most important thing you need to know is when you synthesize, a lot of people got kind of caught with their pants down because they didn't realize when you check a card and you convert it to DNA, you lose that card from your collection. It's the same as selling it for vials. So basically, the game gives you, in exchange for that card, and taking it out of your collection, it gives you the amount of DNA samples. So those DNA samples, again, as you saw on the previous screen, can be used to turn into genome samples of the specific type and then used to rank up. I know it sounds a little complicated, but it really isn't. And it's important to realize, by the way, that the higher ranked your cards are and the higher rarity, the more DNA samples you get. You notice how as the Titans get down to 1 star, and they give substantially less DNA samples. And legendaries give less samples than Titans. Titans give less than Infinity, and down the line. So the higher ranked and the higher rarity the card, the more DNA samples you're given. And as I said before, those DNA samples are basically, think of them as wild cards. They can sort of, if you don't want to think too much about ranking up, then you don't have rank up cards in your arsenal like I do, then you can simply create a whole bunch of DNA like I did there for this video. Notice I have a ton of DNA, so I can rank up a lot of cards that way. So you can sort of have a whole bunch of DNA on hand like I do, and then you can simply convert it in the rank up screen when the game tells you that you're short of the particular genome samples you need. And remember, very important, okay, Titan power genomes can only be used to rank up Titan power genome cards. I mean, power cards. So it's not, when you're ranking up a card and you need to use genome samples, they're specific to both the one of the 4 genome types, whether it's skill, power, tech, etc., and it's also specific to the rarity. So that's why a lot of people just throw their hands up and they convert a lot of their genome samples right into DNA. The only problem is you should realize that you lose a little bit in the conversion. Okay, so it's not as efficient. And if you're playing events, you may notice, hey, I want a whole bunch of power Titan genomes. Okay, those get added to your inventory. I want to show you something here. You can also sort by rarity and by genome type. So notice that there I just chose duplicates only, which will show duplicates. There I chose infinite power genome. So you'll notice that that's showing only my infinite power cards when I select that. That could be handy. Now, by the way, notice how you get a huge amount of DNA samples from the fully ranked Infinity cards. So again, just showing you the sorting. Now I sorted legendary, right? So that'll just show the legendary wit genome cards. So this can be very handy when you're going through your collection and you kind of don't want to scroll through, thousands of, multiple copies of cards. This may seem a little overwhelming, but it's actually pretty simple. And other than synthesizing cards by accident and losing your cards, it's pretty idiot-proof, and it's actually a pretty sexy system in terms of the way that ranking up has now sort of become a little more glamorous than just, all right, use duplicate cards. All right, so we're in the crafting screen. Now, notice it's all a hodgepodge of different cards because it has all of them thrown together. So now I'm sorting by way of epic, then rare, and so you can now select which cards you want to work on very readily based on rarity and genome sample. Now you'll notice there's always a number associated with how many of the genome samples I have. Okay, so now notice that if you're doing crafting basically takes your DNA molecules and converts them into genome samples. In that case, infinity wit genome. Now there are no infinity wit genomes cards in the game yet. Right now there's 2 power, 1 tech, 1 infinity skill card. Okay, so notice that I'm converting, not going to do it, but I can convert all those DNA samples into infinite wit genome samples on that screen. And likewise, now you can go reverse. I can convert the 144 wit genome, infinity genomes, into DNA to be used again as wildcards. All right, and you can do that for every single genome type and every single rarity in the game. So it's a very handy system, and I think I mentioned it's kind of idiot-proof in that sense. So you go to legendary. I really don't have very many legendary genome samples because I converted them all to DNA since they haven't had a legendary card come out in a while. And again, you can go reverse. I can convert all that DNA, if I wanted to, into all those power molecules. And you notice you can do it by one at a time with the plus button, or you could just use the slider if you want to just do a whole bunch at a time. So if you need, for example, let's say you knew you needed 200 DNA, 200 power legendary DNA samples exactly. You can get it close, and then you could use the plus and minus to get it exactly to the samples you want. Or you can just do it directly in the rank up screen, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. And I think I kind of touched on before. So let's go into the Black Cat, which I have one fully ranked and I have one at 5 stars. Now, notice that I have 5. Now, let's say I wanted to rank her up. There's several ways I could do it. It's saying that I need a total of 200 infinity skill genomes. Since I have 5, I have to bridge that gap by using, if I wanted to go this route, by simply converting it to 200. Notice I was able to get to exactly 200. Now, if I hit craft, I would have the exact number I needed to add that 1 star of rank to Black Cat. Or I could just hit the rank up button, and it'll tell me exactly how many 97,500 DNA samples I need, and then that will, if I hit that button, it will it will convert those DNA samples to the appropriate genome sample, and it would appear in that little plus, right next to the little plus button, and then I could just hit rank up and I would be able to rank up the card that way. But notice that I would have spent that amount, 97,000 plus DNA samples. Or again, the third way I could do it is I could simply use one of my stored rank up cards if I have them. And the good news is that they're selling the rank up cards now in the IAP store, and they're actually pretty reasonably priced compared to what they used to go for several years ago. So if you really, really want, you can purchase rank up cards in the IAP store. Now, again, this is another power. This one is power legendary. And I can go the same route. If I wanted to rank up, I'd need to convert 10,740 DNA molecules into legendary power genome samples. Or I could use the rank up card, or I can simply go into the crafting screen by hitting that little plus button and converting DNA directly to that exact type of genome sample I need and the exact number I need, and then I can simply hit the rank up button and I'll get 1 star of rank. And there again, that just tells me the exact number of DNA I need to create 1 star of rank. Now, one of the things you should bear in mind, and it's worth considering, is the cost of converting DNA into the appropriate genomes. If you were to go from 1 star of rank all the way up to 8 star of ranks for a Titan, which is a fully ranked card, it would cost you under 100,000 DNA if you were to convert directly from DNA each time you wanted to rank up the card. This is just a level up screen, by the way. Even though I'm showing it, I don't think I need to really go over this too much. But to go from pure DNA to specific infinite genome types, if you wanted to do that 9 times to rank up your infinity card to 9 stars, it would cost you 725,000 DNA samples, which is basically 7 times the amount. It's very expensive. There are some good reasons, I believe, why the developers made infinite cards so expensive to rank up, which I'll get into in another video, but it has to do with being more strategic, and I think it also has to do with fixing some of the issues with the in-game economy. Now notice I have 153 legendary saved legendary pulls. I'm showing this because I want to show that how all of these saved portals can also be used to convert to DNA by using the synthesis screen. And that's why I'm showing you all these portals, because every single one of these saved portals, even though I have every single one of the cards in those portals in my collection, I can now use them to convert to DNA. So there are many, many ways to. Now I'm just pulling from the Standard Superior to illustrate my point. So I pulled that card. Now that card could then be converted either to experience points to level up, or to also rank up cards with the synthesis screen. I do hope this makes this whole process a lot clearer. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, all those VIP portals, that's the old VIP before they went to gold, silver, and platinum VIP. I happen to have them saved from literally for years now, some of them. But anyway, as I said, I hope this makes it easier. Now that we're done with this, I want to also get into, from a historical perspective, the old way of ranking up. The two previous rank up systems may not have any practical value for the game now, but it's good for kind of seeing where the game came from. So this is a picture of the first rank up screen. I pulled this off the web for this video, but this was the original rank up system when the game first launched in September of 2014. Notice that you could pay 50 ISO 8 if you wanted to go to 2 stars, or you could use those 3 slots. Now the way that you did it back then was, in the center you needed the exact card and rarity. That's rare spider armor. So you would need a duplicate copy of rare spider armor at any rank, and you would put that, but pressing the plus button, you could then cycle through your collection, and if you had it, you would add it to the middle. Then you would use 2 of any cards from the rarity below. In this case, it would be uncommon. You notice by the green border, that's uncommon. So that's how you ranked up with the first system. You would need 2 of any card from the rarity directly below. So if you were ranking up an epic, you needed 2 rare cards that you could put in the right and left, and 1 of the exact epic cards you needed. Now, this system was in place, I believe, as late as the very, very earliest legendary cards, which I think it was just pretty much the original Amazing Spider-Man card. I'm pretty sure I remember ranking up at least 1 legendary card with this system of needing 2 epics and 1 of the exact legendary. If I'm wrong about the legendary, then it definitely would have been the early epic cards that this system was in place for. So that was the first rank up system. At some point, the developers kind of took pity on people and they changed to this system, which was they eliminated the need for the extra two cards from the previous rarity, and they then all you really needed at that point was one copy of the exact card in the exact rarity that you were trying to rank up to add one star. What's very interesting, by the way, that screenshot, strangely enough, I just found it on the web, but that's actually from my game. I posted that on the forum, so somebody kind of lifted that and put it in one of the wiki sites, and they kind of stole my screenshot. Not that I care. I mean, anybody's more than welcome to use screenshots I post, or I wouldn't post them in public. But I just found it humorous. I looked at this and I said, "Wait a minute! I recognize that screenshot. The exact same 19 free rank up cards. This was from around the early part of 2015. That's and when they changed the system, which was either late 2014 or very early 2015, that this system survived up until the Genome system. So you still had your rank up cards back then. And by the way, interestingly enough, they didn't have rank up cards in the first system of ranking up your cards. The rank up cards were introduced later on. So I'm not entirely sure what the practical value of all this is, other than, like I said, some kind of historical perspective. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope this cleared up a lot of issues that I know a lot of people are having, especially people newer to the game with the rank up system. If you have any problems, feel free to post in the comments section. I'll be more than happy to answer. But one of the things you may want to do is come to gameloft.com and check out the forum, because the official forum, I'm also a moderator, as I mentioned, and I and many people there would be more than happy to answer any questions in detail and to help you with any other issues or problems, or just if you want to talk about the game. A lot of people just love to be on the forum and talk about it and give their critiques and say what they love and say what they would suggest. And what I really like about this community is the developers are very good at incorporating our suggestions. I've seen many instances where things we suggested in the forum were implemented very quickly. In this day and age where many developers see themselves in a very pompous or elitist way, it's really nice and refreshing to see that the developers in Gameloft are actually willing to, on the fly, make corrections to the game that they feel are appropriate based on our suggestions. That's very rare in the game developing community. Many developers claim to have a connection to their community without actually being connected in a meaningful way. We also have two community managers. We have Karina and Irina, who are both very helpful. And if the developers don't read certain threads in the forum, they or myself will communicate with Gameloft and try and get some of our suggestions implemented. So I highly recommend coming to the forum. Just go to gameloft.com and look for the Spider-Man Unlimited forum and sign up. It takes 2 seconds, and there's a lot of help and a lot of resources available for you. All right. Again, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it helped, and you guys have a great day. Thank you.